I am bored. At least it's Friday, so, you know. Evening. What's up, Andy? Yeah, it's just glad the week's over, low-key. Even though this week, like, flew, I'm still tired. Hello, Fireton. Yes. So, spring break for me starts Thursday, and again, I said if I hit 650 this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and do a collection bid. First time. Right now we're 648, so it should be really easy. The sinuses are getting me because the pollen this year is really bad. Man, how is March almost over? That's also a good question. Not much going on in the chat tonight, I guess. You got St. John's versus Duke on, yeah. Never been a big Duke fan. What's good? Low key, like, you know, I'm assuming you didn't get anything from that one event from Pennsylvania because it completely busted. Neptune, because I know you were in PA recently. You might. I'm assuming you're back in Alabama. Yeah, I was thinking you didn't get anything. It busted in Pennsylvania. Completely busted. Even Josh only got like. Josh usually gets a ton of alerts, even in like what you would consider. What he considers a bust is much different than what you consider a bust. Let me just say that. Because, you know. But if he only has I know he like forgot about 2 or 3, but if he only has a 6-minute comp, then it was a bust. It could. You're not used to major busts. Depends on the year. 2025 was a year full of major busts. 2026 we had that moderate that busted, but I don't know. I can't really say that I'm not used to it. I'm used to it yet. Shows thunderstorms to begin my spring break. So there's that, I guess. Mississippi had a slight bust. Alabama was hit harder. 10, 20. So yeah, like. You just decided that you would make a video, that you had both the alerts and station IDs that you confirmed on the way up to Pennsylvania and back to Alabama. So you just got back to Bama. I'll be stuck here for another 2 months, but then I go down to Florida. And then I come back for 2 weeks and go right back to Florida. And yes, I am going through Bama. So hopefully I can get a little bit better tropo than last time I went to Florida. But, you know. Stopped in my town, bro. Which part of Gastonia were you in? Were you, you don't fully remember. I don't blame you. Gastonia's not really. You probably, and if you stopped right off the interstate, you probably were on you were probably on New Hope or Cox Road. Those are both those are the ridiculously busy. So is exit 17. They're all ridiculously busy. And crazy enough, Gastonia. It is mini Atlanta basically because it turns into that about 7 days a week. It's backed up on 85 here. Sunday afternoon, and it's like freaking packed. I guess that's what growth does to us. I don't know. And our city's growing, so it's probably going to get worse. Whatever it was probably really busy because Gastonia, basically the entirety of 85 between Raleigh, Durham, and basically all the way from the Gaston-Cleveland County line all the way up to, I'm guessing, the Durham-Granville County line is a huge traffic block the whole way from Durham to Gastonia. You know, that's over 2 hours, but it's all connected, basically. Nicest area I know of for St. John's Lost. You stay in the Holiday Inn. Yeah, I know where that is. Of course, I live in Gaston County. I'm pretty familiar with, basically all the hotels here. And I'll say, we have the True by Hilton, I think, is really nice. I think I plan on I want to go in there and record Elevator. Been wanting to do that for a long time, but I haven't been able to. But I am gonna get the Elevator at the casino in Kings Mountain when it opens. I am going to that casino and dude, I'm going to that casino and filming them, bro. It's gonna be cool because they have a 24-story hotel. And I think it was 385 rooms. There's a big pool, which I'm assuming I'm probably gonna be spending most of my time at because I'll still be I'll still be under 18 when it opens, let alone under 21. So looky. Yeah, it opens in 2027. You're still same. Well, to me, it's probably still sort of obvious because if you go even as recently as about like 3.5 years ago, yeah, I didn't really. I tried. Yeah, same here, barely. But it's still gonna be a while until I can. So, but I'm gonna definitely get some food inside the casino though, easily. Um, uh, very tip end of 2027 for me. I'll be an unk then. I'll probably have facial hair. I'm growing some facial hair right now, but none to be seen quite yet. Uh, yeah, I've been growing facial hair since the 8th grade, but haven't like fully grown it any out yet. Yeah, um, yeah. Admittedly, like, yeah, I'll be for real. Like, yeah, I thought you were older. Look, I'd probably say it probably fits for my age, but you know, a lot of us do. A lot of people sound younger than they are. You know, like, still not doing a full-on face reveal yet. Well, I know you said you were gonna do it at 1K, and both love and hate to remind you, you were 7 subs away. You're 993, I think. Yeah, I guess you can sort of say you were in a stalemate because back in August, your sub count was in the 970s. Or no, your sub count was in the I think upper 950s, lower 960s when I started doing these streams. Yeah, it's probably because of a few of your like comps and stuff. Well, Man, you haven't uploaded any of those. I don't know, but or who knows? The Dissiper Rage might have gained you some subs. Crap. I agree, bro. My longest comp is an hour and a half. I don't even remember. I'm probably gonna have a much longer comp one day. I'm much better at getting alerts on multiple stations now than I used to. But I always count the alert by the alert. I never. Huh. Whenever I was gonna post one collector check trend, and when it said the weirdest radio, I pointed at the Disappear and did the exact same thing. Yeah, the only reason why I said I'd put it in the weirdest is because you can't. The video doesn't mention anything about the worst or least favorite. Yeah, I'll find every way to disown it. Like, I heard they have a new and improved. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that, bro. Hell no. I am not buying that. You could not convince me to buy that. I am good. Yeah. And yeah, I want to get that MD329. I heard it's way better. I heard it actually works good. That one does. Yeah, same. Low key, like, Disappears are the worst, bro. Screw those. You have a phobia. I gotta say though, I am going. We're again. I still gotta check out this freaking YouTube DMs thing and see what it's all about. Again, they're not in the U.S. yet, but they're across Europe at the moment. And I think Discord is going to become more and more unpopular in the AS community once YouTube has DMs, because that means that obviously it's not impossible to make friends in the AS community without having Discord. Look at me, look at me, bro. And yeah, yeah, we are checking, and everybody said we're excited for YouTube DMs. Again, I think Discord will obviously still be used for other stuff, like mainly like the Quest servers and stuff like that, but it won't be, like a necessity to some, creators or whatever. You can just get all of them through YouTube. I think that'd be pretty cool. Okay, I'm excited, but I'll start I'm yeah. I knew you were probably gonna make a scenario at one point because you have voice text, but you made Art of Multiple Risk in the Tornado Pass for the Outbreak. Yeah. You're either going to make it completely overperform in North Carolina or completely bust in North Carolina, because that's how it works here. It never performs right. No storm ever performs exactly how they say it's going to. It's either going to break records or it's going to completely bust. There's no in-betweens. In my entire time in North Carolina, I've never seen a storm that's actually performed exactly like they expect it to. I mean, you could say I missed Charlotte's biggest event, but I also did get alerts from. I didn't get alerts from it because I was busy, and that's basically how I missed it. But yeah, hee hee. Pretty sure I know where they say a 4 is going for. Somewhere in the that's all the EF4 in the enhanced, and then so. With what gateway it gave you, is it like the things that you can get it to make it sound exactly like that specific National Weather Service? Or is it just voice text to where you can make the pronunciation sound right, but it's not exactly? Either way really works, but it's really cool when like you can get it to sound exactly like them. I've wanted to do that a long time. Again, I have access to voice text, but it's the exact same NWS voice. Yeah, so you can make it sound like the transmitter. So you could, if you can make it sound like the transmitter. I always think that. I think that's cool. That's always cool. Yeah, what sucks is that okay, I actually use this mobile voice text, and I've wanted. I have the actual voice text file downloaded on my computer, but I can barely upload. I can barely get into it. Like, but yeah, if I can somehow get it to sound exactly like a transmitter, I will definitely 1,000% do that, because I'll freaking. But I've wanted to like do it to make it sound. Was to make it radio, TV, and without a good EAS screen background. Uh, there's multiple EAS creators who I think could help you with it, but and of course. Well, the only thing I'd probably put is I would definitely make an EAS mock of like just 100 counties in an SVR. No, the longest EAS mock ever for just one alert, all 96 FFC counties under one SVR. 96. Yeah, he's no longer doing EAS. Not an SVR. They don't. I've never seen every FFC county even under a same tornado watch. Most of the time when I see them under the same thing, it's like fire weather or hazardous weather outlook, wind advisory, something like that. Cold weather advisory, freeze warning, that type. But yeah, for SVR, yeah, no. It's always north central Georgia. Of course, that's where Atlanta is, but it's always good to hear central Georgia from time to time. Yeah, there's no normal sized SVR for FFC. None. They either issue a tiny SVR for like a quarter of a tiny county, like one that affects like 10 people. And then you have the other one that's basically just for another, I don't know. Uh, sure, buddy. You act like you didn't steal it from Southern Pennsylvania WX. Get it right. He's the one who did Friday Night Live first. And plus, you're not SNL. You can't sue me. Who's tired, guys? Who's just glad I don't... Yeah, I'll say this. Sir, I started FNL 4 years ago. Okay, WX Radio. Did anybody show up to that? I gotta ask you, did anybody show up to that? Plus, I didn't use FNL. Yes. Who showed up? You had 300 people. Okay, well. 4 years ago, I don't think... Friday night. Why didn't you tell your boy Josh that 3 years ago? Dang, so you're accusing me of stealing. It's still under a trademark. Well, I mean, you could have used FNL on the 2 Friday night streams you did back in September. Also, you haven't streamed in over a month, so I don't know what you're on about. Buddy. Buddy. Obviously you are, bro. Or am I? Am I really kidding? Who knows, buddy? You're gonna learn now. Am I really kidding? You'll never know. You'll never know. You'll really never know. You got Josh's main when you own Philly. Yeah, fair point. Or fair point. What the hell? Good. Yeah, that's sort of is a expected if you're going that way. WX-40 is really strong. It is Josh's main, but it's still over 30 miles from Josh's house. And yeah, he gets it perfectly to where he can't really. Now, he lives far enough to where he can occasionally DX off of it, but you could have took it so far that you... But you never do that because you're a nice person. Are you really, though? Are you really, though? Are you really, though? Plus, I didn't call it FNL. I just called it Friday Night Live because bro put Veals in all caps. But also, at the same time, that is what Veals originally was typed as. So I gotta give him credit. But driving on I-81 felt like a nightmare. You drove on 81? You drove on there? Dang. You already driving on the frickin' 81 when I barely drive on 85. You drove on 81 and I haven't even... I've only drove on 85 one time. And that was for like a mile. And you drove on 81 through the entirety of Virginia, which is considered one of the worst stretches of interstate in America. Dang, bro. You are... My cousin drove here, but that's because he's driving on any state feels... interstate, it feels like a nightmare. Well, some interstates, it just feels like a calm night drive. It depends on where you are. Like, if you're in the middle of nowhere, it's just a calm night drive. Are you in Virginia? He was in Virginia. Never go through Chattanooga. Fair point. He was in Virginia. Yeah, I've been through Chattanooga one time, and let me just say, it ain't much better than Atlanta. And this was years ago. It's probably worse now. You stayed in Salem while you were going up to Philly. I need to go to Philly and get some cheesesteaks. He was in none other than R&K Land, which is actually what I thought Vales lived in for the longest time. But no, he's AKQ. Barely AKQ, but AKQ. Atlanta is hacking into the world. For real, bro. Name one city in the south. Name one city south of the Mason-Dixon that doesn't have, south of Mason-Dixon and east of the Mississippi that doesn't have worst. And I know you could say, oh, Miami. Yeah, Miami has it. Oh, Scott and Russell counties. I missed the SVR for Russell and Washington. I could have got that because I can get driving in Atlantis. I love driving in driving in Atlanta, driving in Atlantis, driving underwater. It sounds like. Now, see, if I was younger, I'd say I'd love to go to Atlanta. Atlanta's a cool city to visit, but it is an absolute pain to drive through. Trust me, I know. Which I still do, but the roads are a pain in the booty. Yeah, for real. Again, Atlanta's a cool city, but, like, the frickin' traffic is horrible. For some reason, my car doesn't work in Atlantis. I don't know why. I won. Yeah. You had to repair it 300 times per mile. No, I had to repair it. No, 300 times per mile sounds like light work. I have to repair it 300 times per quarter mile. This year, you hope to go to your home city, St. Augustine, I think, yeah, I'm assuming I know it's St. Johns County. I just don't remember exactly where. Tampa Bay. Oh, yeah. When are you going to Tampa? Your home city is Tuscaloosa. My home city is where I live now. Good question. I'm going in June. I'm going to Tampa in June. And then I'll probably go to Charleston in July and Gatlinburg in July as well. I'm sort of packed this year, low key. You love going to cities this season. You live in Tuscaloosa from 2010 to 2013. I've lived here from I haven't lived in the same house, obviously. We bought our house. You ain't never been through Atlanta at night, dude. You were missing out. And the view from the freaking Marriott we stayed at like 10, 11 p.m. was peak. You mostly like going to mountainous areas. North Carolina, honestly, it's not even personal bias, but North Carolina is actually peak for mountains. It's not even personal bias either. I'm pretty sure anyone can agree with that who lives in the eastern. Anyone who lives on the East Coast can easily outgrow North Carolina for having the best mountains on the East Coast. I know Tennessee's close, but like, I used to think Tennessee was entirely mountains, and it is pretty much mountains it's the eastern half, and even some of Middle Tennessee, but Alabama has, DeKalb County, North Bama, I think could realistically get cold enough for a ski resort. Though, again, North Bama, North Carolina has several, but I'm pretty sure nobody's surprised by that. You thought Tennessee was country music and barbecue. Same. But I used to think Memphis was a mountainous city. I was very wrong about that. Very wrong about that. Memphis is anything but mountains. It is flat. Memphis is basically, I think you'd be surprised if most of Mississippi's flat. I think there's like a few hilly areas in the northeastern part of the state, but they're very far in between. Like, you're not going to see that many hills, and Mississippi is a flatter type state. Yep. Well, North Carolina is like that, but instead of 10 hours, it's 1 hour. North Carolina is basically, if you don't like the weather here, stay another day. That's how it is. Like, today was near 9. Today, I think, was near 90. It might have even reached 90. Tomorrow is only reaching 55. And then we warm right back up. Or, not 55. 58. My bad. Close enough. North Carolina weather, dude. If you think Alabama is like that with unpredictability, you ain't seen North Carolina unpredictability. Oh. Yeah, severe weather's worse than always been worse than Bama though. Fort Deposit is I go through Fort Deposit to get to Florida. I mostly know it for that one pecan shop. Yep, was it Priester's Pecans? Have you ever been there? That's what I know. Fort Deposit. That's what I know Fort Deposit for. Never been there? You've definitely passed it, though. It's right off 65. 65 is Alabama's big time. And, like, nobody goes the speed limit. Nobody goes 5. Nobody even goes really 5 over. 5 over is slow on 65 in South Bama. That's how it is over there. I'd know. Again, I go through South Bama. I've only been through North Bama. I've only been through North Bama probably once, and that was a long time ago. Heck, I've barely been through Central Alabama except for maybe Montgomery. And Montgomery, honestly, Montgomery's still Central Alabama. Montgomery's still more central than south, but it's more south than north easily. It's like once you get south of Montgomery is where South Alabama comes. North Alabama is north of Birmingham. You could say south, but it's further south. But Auburn's not south. It's close enough, though. You could, yeah, well, yeah, Montgomery, I guess you could say, is close enough to the Florida border to where it can be south. Though realistically, if you think of this, Montgomery, south, the furthest, now, North Alabama is north of Birmingham, probably. North Alabama is mostly, now, sometimes Montgomery I wouldn't really argue with Montgomery still being central, but, like, anywhere south of Montgomery, calling that central is probably, yeah. That's, Montgomery's. I still think it's crazy that just how it feels so much different in the Florida Panhandle near the Bama border than the rest of Florida. Yeah, Watauga County's a little more specific though, but but yeah, Prattville is. I guess Prattville's the dividing line for you. Or one of them, the main one on 65. Yeah, like Monk, and then Atlanta. Yeah, and what's crazy, Prattville. Once you get north of Prattville is where you see snow. Once you get south of Prattville is where you see warm rain. Yeah, I'm pretty sure every town in Alabama gets at least a little hit. Heck, I'd say if you want to make it a little more, get some Mobile counties in on it. And who knows, maybe make a gigantic SVR. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you. You to me, low-key, like, would I'd say North. There's a north, but yeah, with North Carolina, the northern and southern can be a little bit. Dude, I'd say a little bit harder to determine, like when it comes to overall counties. Like, I don't know if I'd really consider. Yeah, I don't know if I'd really consider Catawba County southern north. I don't. Yeah. Catawba County, I don't think, or Iredell, the southern half of the county's only 30 minutes from the South Carolina border, but the northern half of the county's less than an hour from the Virginia border. Iredell County is huge, north to south. Yeah, again, the north end of Iredell, I still find it crazy that Wilkes County, borders a county that borders Mecklenburg, because the change, Iredell County is huge north to south. So, like, I guess the dividing line, you could say, is Statesville. Yeah, Piedmont region, and then truly central. Wake County's a little more north, but I guess I'd still say central for there. Now, straight south. Oh, yeah, North Carolina, you do, like, let's say, obviously Wilmington south, and then north is going to be, and then northeast North Carolina, basically. I'm not really too familiar. I'm again, all 94. I've been to 90. I think like 90, 94, 95 of North Carolina's counties, and about 5. And the other 5 I haven't been to are all in the eastern part of the state. I haven't been to. Yeah, Rocky Mountain is further north. Fayetteville's, I'd say, is south. Wilson's truly central. And then the geographic center of North Carolina, Central is in, I think, Pittsburgh. But yeah, I would say if you're gonna, yeah, Iredell and Catawba is really hard to tell. Lincoln, I'd say, is still further south. Even, Apparently, you can barely receive Bedford County fire within your 1,000-foot antenna in your backyard. However, notice this: certain states have such weird like county naming, like for the section of the state. Several states have such weird naming for them, like where they're located. Like you will have, like especially like in Oklahoma, you will have parts of the state that are considered southeastern Oklahoma that are further north of parts of the state that are considered northeast Oklahoma. Okay, I don't know what that. Virginia's sort of the same way, like Franklin County, west central, but Bedford, south central. It's north. Macon is super random though, like low-key. Macon is super random. Went to Guilford County yet, or Now, if you go by where if that's just where you've stayed, it makes more sense. But yeah, I'd be sort of surprised if you haven't been through Guilford yet, or if you haven't been through Transylvania or Haywood or Highlands is pretty nice out there. I go to Franklin a lot. Yeah, definitely Guilford. I don't Randolph County. If you've just been on 85, yeah. Now, oh yeah, you've probably went through Alamance. And then let's look more. Union County. What's crazy? Union County is not even. Union County still isn't touched by an interstate, yet is still it still has more people than any of the other counties in the Charlotte Metro besides Mecklenburg itself. But Union County doesn't even get touched by an interstate, really. In fact, the first ever freeway that went through Union County was the bypass. And I'm thinking, like, I wonder how bad highway traffic is in Union County with them having no interstates in it. York County, York, Gaston, Union, and Cabarrus are all pretty similar, but there's a few. The smallest of the ones I mentioned, Gaston's barely smaller than Cabarrus. Yeah. Yeah, Fayetteville is Cumberland. On 95, you didn't go through Bladen. But if you were Harnett, Cumberland, and you've definitely been through Robeson. If you've been down on the 95 side, Robeson County is big north to south also. Robeson County takes up a lot of land. So like what's crazy, Robeson County has about 100. Yeah. But yeah, what's crazy, Robeson County literally freaking has 130,000 people, 140,000, but it's entirely farmland almost. Lumberton only has 20,000 people. Now, of course, I know you have, it's probably like all small towns that added up, because you have Pembroke, Red Springs, Fairmont, Roland, Sampson County. Sampson County's on the smaller end. I think it has like 65,000, which is still shocking for a county that's entirely farmland almost. But yeah, Robeson County has always been a strange one to me because Lumberton only has like 20K. You would think a county like Robeson would have like. I mean, you'd be surprised that Sampson County is not considered rural. Technically, any county above 50K isn't considered rural, but I mean, it's not considered rural by the legit definition, but I consider it rural. I consider Sampson County rural, definitely. I know. Heck, frickin' they throw Anson County into. They throw Anson County that has 22,000 people into the Charlotte Metro, even though Wadesboro is an hour from Charlotte. I don't know what the brains are behind putting Anson County in the same and considering them yeah, Sampson County's not considered rural. Robeson County might make more sense because it's right next to Fayetteville, but still, um, Chilton County is, yeah, Chilton County's its own place. Yeah, Anson County, Wadesboro's over an hour, but, you know, Anson County's considered Charlotte for some reason. Not only that, Stanley County, I'd say, has a little bit more of an argument because Locust is close enough to Charlotte, I guess, but I still wouldn't consider most of Stanley County Charlotte suburbs, like Albemarle's too far. And Lancaster, South Carolina is considered an exurb. Chatham County, honestly, it makes more sense if Chatham County was considered Greensboro, the triad, rather than frickin'. It'd make more sense that way than Anson and Charlotte, because Siler City, I think, is closer to Greensboro than Wadesboro is to Charlotte. Not only that, the entirety of the way between Wadesboro and Monroe is almost entirely farmland besides Wingate and Marshville. Now, Marshville is arguably, I guess you could say, an exurb of Charlotte because it's in Union County. Yeah, Marshville's technically. And I still think it's crazy that, I'll tell you, when you're in like Marshville or Wingate or even Monroe, you do not feel like you're in GSP land anymore, but you're still in it. In fact, Rowan County doesn't feel like GSP. Union County doesn't feel like GSP. Cabarrus barely. Honestly, like, here's the thing. If you're in 74 in North Carolina, there are only 74. Yeah, when you get 74, you spend over 5 hours on US 74 in North Carolina from the Tennessee border all the way to the Scotland-Richmond County border in an area that is served by a GSP transmitter. Yeah, Cherokee and Clay counties, the two MRX counties, all the way to Richmond and Montgomery. I'd say Anson County might have a little bit of an argument for WXL 70 coverage, but I understand, yeah. Yeah, but I'll say I don't really complain about it. I like getting alerts for Richmond County, dude. It just gives me it's more counties for me to get. Yeah, but yeah, you can get WXL50 better there. You can get WXL50 better in parts of Anson County still. Though I could say Anson County probably has a little bit of an argument for WXL70 coverage because you can get it decently in parts of it. Stanley County, I think, is WXL70 is fitting for Stanley County, but that's Stanley County. WNG 538 definitely should. Oh yeah, I agree. KJY 85 should serve R&K counties, Wilkes and Yadkin, and then I think KJY 85 should serve Wilkes and Yadkin, and maybe probably Forsyth. Honestly, yeah, Forsyth. Yeah, Wilkes, Yadkin, Forsyth. Arguably, you could. Yeah. Yeah. WXL 56 definitely should. What's crazy? I find this funny, but this is how GSP is. The only GSP transmitter that serves just GSP counties is WXL 56, despite Mount Pisgah being right on the Tennessee border. WXL 56 serves 0 Tennessee counties, which I think is crazy. They should definitely serve some Tennessee counties. WNG 538 is the same way. They don't serve any Tennessee. Though WNG 538 serves 2 R&K counties, so that's the reason why they're not just GSP. GSP's main transmitter serves 2 CAE counties. Or actually, no, not 2, 1, but still. WXL 70, obviously, you have the 4 Raleigh counties. KHC 27, you have 2 CAE counties, Fairfield and Lancaster. Yeah. But yeah, KJY85, I think, would be fitting if they used Yadkin, Wilkes, Yadkin. Both of these counties border Iredell, by the way. And you can get KJY85 almost perfectly, and especially in Yadkin County. Possibly, definitely Forsyth. Possibly Surrey. And maybe Union. Yes, KJY 85 does not serve Union County. Yadkin and Forsyth. And again, Wilkes, I'd argue. Forsyth? Yeah. And then one thing about the 16, and then what's crazy is WXL 60 is a super strong transmitter. So like, I think in WXL 60 you can get it in Greensboro. Probably not that good, but you can. I've heard it. I think that it's not uncommon for the blend. In my opinion, I mean, here's my opinion. I do think that Lancaster County deserves to be covered by WXL 70 more than Richmond. Because what's crazy, Lancaster County, South Carolina, borders Mecklenburg. But they literally border Mecklenburg County, yet they were only served by WXL 70 for a period of about 3 months because of Helene. Montgomery County, you can't really get WXL 70 that well there either. You're probably better off getting WXL 50 there. Yeah, they don't serve Lancaster. They don't serve Chester either. Chester is more arguable for not serving, but I still think Chester County could work well for WXL70. Because you can get WXL70 pretty good in Chester County. Yeah. Again, WXL70, you can barely get in Richmond. You have to go to like a... If you... In fact, there's definitely parts of Richmond County where WXL70 is near impossible. Now, if you're in the middle of Rockingham, you probably find a good reception spot and be able to get WXL70 at least a little bit. But to anybody who's ever traveling on US 74 North Carolina in Richmond County and trying to just... Do not try to confirm WXL70 that early. Wait until you get to at least Union County before you start getting out the camera. Because that's probably going to be the time you actually are finally able to get good enough reception. Now, obviously, Mecklenburg, yeah. Western Richmond the WXL 50 quality sucks in West Richmond, but Richmond County's not that big east or west, so it's not really like a dramatic difference. And good luck getting WXL 70 and not only that, I always thought it was crazy that what's weird is just how close GSP is to ILM without bordering ILM. Because no, Chesterfield County borders three different WFOs because of its size. Chesterfield County. Yeah. WXL 70. If WXL 70 did serve Davidson, I would understand. Again, Davidson's the only Raleigh County KJY 85 serves, but KJY 85 again. I think it should serve Forsyth as well, and again, also Yadkin and Wilkes. Then I don't know. I don't really know about KJY 85 serving Union. Union County is a decent distance from Statesville, so it makes sense if it's not Union. But yeah, KJY 85 could also serve Stanley. If it was still in Mooresville, it could serve York County, South Carolina, but I think it's fair that it's not there. But again, even when it was in Mooresville, you can get it really well in Yadkin. But guess what? It don't serve Yadkin. Yadkin isn't served by a single GSP, isn't served by any GSP transmitters. Which, I mean, I guess that's one less GSP county. They already have like 1 billion served by transmitters. Because, you have... I know there's... Heck, because, the GSP has some transmitters that's, serve parts of, like, far north up in the, Yadkin-phobic. Yeah, they're also Forsyth-phobic, apparently. What's crazy, Stokes County, which is an RNK county, is only served by WXL42. And not only that, WXL42 also, A, serves more RNK counties than Raleigh counties, and B, is located in an RNK county. WXL42's is a Raleigh transmitter, but is located in... Yeah, probably so. Yeah, Yadkin and Force... Yeah. Yeah, WXL42, in my opinion, should either A, be an RNK transmitter, or B, like, I mean, you could say that Forsyth County only being served by an RNK would be weird because it's a Raleigh County, but still. WXM32 is located in Alabama, but it's served by FFC, which serves no counties in Alabama. Which is definitely a good thing that FFC does not serve counties in Alabama, because FFC already has 96 Georgia counties. Even though FFC is better off serving some of them Alabama counties than many of their other Georgia counties, because Peachtree City's only an hour from the Alabama border. Less than an hour, actually. You can get to the Alabama border in about less than an hour from the actual city of Peachtree City. But some of FFC's area expands. FFC borders both. Hold on. That's more of a hot take, I'd say. Yeah, I agree. You're under a critical fire danger tomorrow. I'm under a red flag warning. I gotta disagree with you there a little bit, because Huntsville is closer to Georgia than, but I mean, I can't entirely disagree, but like at the same time, Huntsville is closer to Georgia than Mississippi, but it's probably closer to that part of Mississippi than Memphis is. Now, I still think it's crazy that there's like I think there's like 3 or 4 Tennessee counties, just random middle Tennessee counties that aren't Nashville. Those are all Huntsville. I know it's Lincoln, Franklin. But what's crazy? Remember this: Huntsville is less than 30 minutes is still less than 30 minutes from. Yeah. Not only does it serve, I mean, it's not really no reason, but not only does it serve 3 Tennessee counties, but there's the city of, Moore, Lincoln, and Franklin. But guess what? There's Giles County, which is right off I-65, about 35, 40 minutes from Huntsville. You're already in Nashville land. You're already out. It's split into, I think, 3. I think it should be Upton to the south and Boston to the north. That's just how it should be. But yeah, Rhode Island's all Boston. Massachusetts is all Boston except one county, being Berkshire, which is Albany. And then guess what? Right as you leave the Boston Metro, you're already in Gray Main territory in New Hampshire. Again, some of these have reasons behind it, but as I say, I do think Raleigh is better fitting for serving Forsyth, but the transmitter type setup for R and K and like majority R and K counties, and the transmitter being located in an R and K county makes WXL42 a little weird on that half. That's how Sterling, Virginia, bro. LWX serves too many freaking Maryland counties. They do not deserve Garrett. Garrett County should go back to Pittsburgh, cause bro, Garrett County the Garrett County being served by LWX is super weird. Not only that, some of their West Virginia counties are sort of off too. LWX goes much further south than you might think. If there's any counties GSP shouldn't serve, I think it's probably maybe a few of the mountain, probably heck, most of them. A county, some of the Charlotte used to have its own National Weather Service, and so did Asheville, but admittedly, it's too many ahead. So I do think Charlotte would be better than Asheville for WFO, but they said I said if they ever moved it to Charlotte, yeah, yeah. I'll be honest, most of BMX's counties, though, are, probably pretty even for BMX, I'd argue. There's a few exceptions, but, like, most of them, I'd argue, are even. Just, like, and then, I think Butler County is probably a good spot for Mobile, because Greenville, Alabama is a little bit, I think it's like a little bit closer to Mobile than Birmingham, but not crazy like that, but But, I do think FFC could definitely trade some Georgia counties for some Alabama counties, and then leave those Georgia counties to, I don't know, though, like, because of course, you have CAE, you have CHS. The county that I've always found weird for CHS is McIntosh. McIntosh should be Jacksonville because they're served by two Jacksonville transmitters. And not only that, the town of Darien is closer to Jacksonville by over an hour. Yeah. But Peachtree City's pretty dang close to the Alabama border. There's one place that I don't. Yeah, I think. McIntosh County should be served by Jacksonville because one, they're closer to Jacksonville by over an hour, and two, they're only served by Jax transmitters. Apparently, it's because of Altamaha Sound, but like, okay. In fact, what's crazy, the city of Charleston is nearly 2 hours from everywhere it serves in Georgia. Charleston's nearly 2 hours from Georgia, yet serves several Georgia counties. CAE. Yeah, Memphis serves Pemiscot and Dunklin, and I guess somebody's got to serve the Boot Heel. I'd argue again, but Memphis is only an hour from the Missouri border. I do think that Pemiscot and Dunklin are more fitting for Memphis than Paducah. Because there's not really anywhere better fitting. Paducah's is huge. Realizing just how far it is from. Well, also, I don't know who should serve Cherokee and Clay because both of the bordering ones already have enough counties of their own. Should be GSP. I thought Cherokee and Clay were GSP for the longest time. I thought GSP. Heck, I thought GSP. Now, I used to be dumb. I used to hear something and thought GSP even served Watauga. I'm sort of glad it doesn't. GSP has a again GSP's area is giant though. And not only that, again, transmitter base. Their transmitter base could be bigger too. Because remember, you can pick. No, WWG 82 is easily the station that needs the most expansion. It only serves a few counties in North Carolina. I think it should serve counties in both Georgia and Tennessee because you can get them so well there. Heck. What? Oh, Neptune. Meant to tell you. Meant to tell you. Huntsville is on a GSP observations. That's how far west WWG 82 is. Huntsville is on the observations. None of them have Birmingham. Yeah. None of them have yeah, it's the only yeah, it's at whenever you're on WWG 82, it will say across Georgia, and I think it's just across Georgia and North Alabama, and then it says Huntsville. There's a few GSP transmitters that have Chattanooga. WXJ21's Chattanooga has Chattanooga. WXO56. I think WX and then WNG 538 also has that. They all also have Atlanta. I'll admit if WXL 70 had Atlanta, it wouldn't even be that far out of proportion. Not only that, it probably wouldn't have been too surprising if KEC 80 had Charlotte, because KEC 80 had but yeah, there's a county in yeah. But yeah, the thing is, like, there's a what should I say? What was I gonna say? There's a yeah. Yeah, there's a I don't there so KZ80 has Asheville in the observations, but I'll be fair, I wouldn't be too shocked if Charlotte was on KC80, because it's not that far. I mean, we have Wilmington on the observations, and Atlanta and Wilmington are actually about the same distance. Now, of course, Wilmington's in state, but still, yeah. WXL 70 is just North and South Carolina. So, and then KJY 85 is that way too. In fact, KJY 85 has the exact same observations as WXL 70, except for Greensboro. KHC 27 has more variety of South Carolina, but this also North and South Carolina. KHC 27 has Charleston on it. What's crazy, WXL 56 has Charleston on it, but WXL 70 doesn't. Even though WXL 70 is clearly closer to Charleston. But yeah, the only coastal city we have is Wilmington. And then we have Raleigh, Durham, Fayetteville. Greensboro. So I guess that counts. That's for the triad. And then Asheville. South Carolina's only coastal city. North Carolina only has one big coastal city, but I guess we have some medium-sized ones like Morehead City, and heck, Mobile isn't even entirely coastal. Yeah, our coastal city is Wilmington on the observation. Yours is probably Mobile. Though Montgomery has, I think, Montgomery, I think, has both Pensacola and Panama City on it as well. I always KC-80 having St. Simon's Island. I know it's in state, but I always thought that was strange. KC-80 has St. Simon's Island on the observations. And then Mobile. The strangest. No, I'm talking about KIH-55 has Panama City on the observations and Pensacola. Now, in terms of actual CWA, it's and Pensacola is Mobile, Panama City's Tallahassee. KIH-54, I'm assuming probably has Mobile on the observations as well. They're Huntsville. Huntsville. I don't even know if Huntsville. I haven't listened to the KIH-55 observations enough. I'm pretty sure Huntsville's on them, but I can't confirm. You probably can. You're local. Most no ILM stations have Charlotte on an observation either. Not even WXA-22. I think, not a single ILM station has Charlotte on their observations. In fact, I don't know any coastal North Carolina station that has Charlotte on them. Every single Raleigh station I know of has Charlotte on it. And then every single Yeah, that's always been a strange, but also again, who would McCurtain go to? Because Tulsa extends. Probably Tulsa, because even though McCurtain is closer to Shreveport, but Shreveport's serving one random Oklahoma county, despite the fact that Louisiana doesn't even border Oklahoma, has always been. Yeah, Tulsa. Tulsa does serve. You could say, oh, that's too far south, but Tulsa also serves Choctaw County, which is on the Texas border. GSP, I think, I don't know there's not really any counties I can argue off of GSP because, well, heck, maybe Rowan for Raleigh. I don't know. Probably not. It's probably more Piedmont still. Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, GSP. Yeah, it don't matter which highway you're on. You're going to be in GSP land for a while, either one you end up on. Yeah. It's shot. I don't know, though, how many counties Tulsa serves Choctaw County, which is on the Texas border, and then 1042, dang. I gotta get a dang charger out of here. Looks like I'm using this to charge my phone tonight. But yeah. New Orleans should not serve Jackson County. Period. New Orleans should not serve Jackson County. The only Hancock County, I think, is the only county that might fit for New Orleans. Harrison County, maybe. It can be debated because it is around the same distance from both. But Jackson County should not be New Orleans. Because you know how Pascagoula is only about 30 minutes from Mobile, but Pascagoula is in New Orleans land. Jackson and Harrison. All of Mobile's Mississippi counties are inland southeast Mississippi. Main areas, like and then the worst county placement for Northeast Louisiana, I could argue makes sense for Jackson, not Southeast Arkansas. Northeast Louisiana could probably stick to Jackson. Shreveport, again, McCurtain is probably the only county Shreveport I could argue off. Jackson, I think, is... Well, admittedly, they can't split a county into two unless it's Monroe County, Florida. It's very weird because New York CWAs are just weird. Because, Buffalo, I think Buffalo, I don't know if it should be Buffalo or Cleveland that should serve Erie, Pennsylvania. Because Erie, I think, is about the same distance from both. It'd probably be Cleveland better off. And then I know Binghamton serves, yep. Watertown. St. Lawrence County is huge. And then I know Clinton is Burlington. That makes sense. Carbon and Monroe are weird for PHI to cover. But I don't know if it would necessarily fit, because Carbon and Monroe seem more like more Binghamton, because Binghamton serves the rest of Northeast Pennsylvania. Why not? Oh, so. Yes, I am. I didn't expect to stay live. I'm probably not going to be live much longer. I just got distracted talking about frickin' what counties shouldn't be in a specific WFO. Wonder what examples we got. What's crazy? The location for Wakefield. Wakefield is a town in Virginia with about 850 people. So, that's the only thing you can give Wakefield notability for, is that their National Weather Service is in the middle of nowhere, but serves a metro of over 1 million, and I don't know how many people the Richmond area has, but it's a decent population in the Richmond area. GSP is actually Greer. GSP is located along GSP Street, by the way. I pass it every time I go down there. Yeah, I'm that bored, feels. Well, anyways, chat, I think we're going to hop off. But, if y'all want to say something at any table, you might make my own night. Yeah, fair point. And yeah, it's good. You could probably make a pretty good map, too. Again, I do think FFC somewhat has an excuse for serving like maybe 70-something counties, maybe, but like 60 or 70-something counties because, well, Georgia has a ton of counties. Georgia counties are very small, for the most part. Ware County might defeat that though, because it's like a big boot. But Georgia Kid doesn't have a single county with over 1,000 square miles. So, but yeah, chat. I'd say we have a decent chat. Only about 5 to 6 people showed up. It's fine though. You know, I might stream some more. I might stream this weekend. Ware County has the strangest county shape. Yeah, because of the swamp there. Waycross is like and then Waycross is on the very northern tip. Yeah, y'all. It's been a great chat. I think we're gonna hop off though. It's approaching 11 o'clock, and I might be going to the flea market tomorrow morning. So woohoo, I guess. But yeah. It's well, I might stream some other time this weekend. I've been playing Twisted quite a bit with some of my friends this week. But yeah, it was nice chatting, you know, and I think it's about time we end this one here. So, yeah. All right, have a good night, and hold on. Have a good night, everybody, and hopefully it isn't lagging more. But yeah, again, have a good night, and I'll talk to y'all later. See ya.